This conference will now be recorded.
7 o'clock, and everyone please rise for the invocation and the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear kind Heavenly Father, we come before you as we start a new year in the town's business. We pray that you give us the guidance to make things better for the residents of Boonesborough and the best decisions for the town. Dear Lord, please bless those who have suffered injuries, loss of life, damage to their homes due to flooding and other things. Touch them and let them know that you are there to give them the healing hand. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Looks like all the council's here. I think Pete forgot. Okay, council, have you had a chance to review the minutes from our public hearing and regular meeting on June 12th?
Yeah, the only thing I know that we did talk about during the meeting is about making sure that we put in here for the water and sewer pieces we were quarterly. Since, everything else we discussed is kind of in. Remember, we did talk about that. So I don't know whether, you know what I mean?
But under the water sewer.
Yeah, because the fee rate, you know what I mean, is per quarter on that, but everything else we talked about was per year. And I don't know whether we want to just make note of that in the minutes that they were per quarter.
Yeah, I can update that.
And then we might want to make a note to make sure we put that in there for the next year's.
Any other additions or corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion with the change?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second to accept the minutes with the change. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. Abstained, motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Sure. I will qualify this. I'm going to go ahead and review the treasurer's report, but I'm not going to ask that it be approved because there are a couple of minor changes that I need to get with the town program. And I'll bring those changes back, and we can approve the changes that we've been the following month. Or
We can still approve them with the corrections.
well, I don't know all the corrections, Mayor. I know that the balance sheet is wrong from the general fund checking. I gotta figure out what it is. So I can't tell you what the change is gonna be. So,
And then probably we should get the treasurer's report until we get them corrected.
I can review them with you at the workshop if you want to make a correction.
You know, I will show.
Oh, that's all.
No, we don't have one July.
Well, it's on the schedule. It's the week after MML, technically.
Yeah, we have it down for the last Friday of the
Yeah,
month, the 31st.
I mean, I don't care.
Unless, I mean, if there's not going to be many people here, that's something you might want to consider.
If we do have the workshop, I can do it then. If not,
Just want to have a motion to table the treasurer's report till
Sure.
31st.
I'll make a motion if we table it to the 31st.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to table the treasurer's report till the 31st. Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstained. Motion carries. Okay, we have anybody signed up for public comments?
Not that I saw, sir.
Okay, moving right along. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time you've been to one of our mayor and council meetings. We have a new town manager, Jared Schubacher. He's been with us now for a little over a week. He's starting hopefully a good week this week. He's doing a great job. Jared, you want to say anything?
No, just thank few of you out in the audience here, some of you I have not But I just look forward to continuing to work with Greensboro. It's already been a great experience, so looking forward to the future.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Under guests, we have the request from National Road Heritage Foundation. Doug's, floor is yours. Come on up.
More trees for you. I promise I won't read it word for word.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can email this to you too,
Oh,
because you don't have to retype anything. I'll give it to you.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time this evening. Tiffany A. Holt, I'm the Vice President of National Heritage Foundation. Joining me this evening is Richard Kiesecker, our President, and Ruben Moss, who is also on our Board of Directors, and Ruben is also President of the Frederick Hagerstown Historical Railway Association. You guys probably know him. He's extremely knowledgeable about the Charlie Station and has been an invaluable member of our board to keep the Charlie Station alive. So we get a little bit more. I believe you all received our letter. And really, folks, we are at a crossroads with opening this museum. I think most of you know we have been at it for many years, in particular George Messner, the late Victoria Messner, Richard Kiesecker, and myself. And it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of time, money, and effort to open a museum. Everybody wants to open a museum, right? But people really have no idea, especially when you are an all-volunteer organization. We have been extremely appreciative of the town's commitment to providing us with the space, the Warren Phelps building, and then certainly the Greensboro Charlie Station. And we are finally at a point where we have enough money to at least open up the museum in terms of our exhibits, phase one. We decided to have 2 different phases because we can get the museum open, you know, it allows us to bring in a steady revenue stream. It also helps us with funding and going back to our donors to say, hey, now you can walk through the door and there's something you can see and touch and experience, right? There was so much interest in this museum opening. In the month of June, we had 53 inquiries of people who wanted to visit the museum. Okay, we can tell the majority of those folks are searching us out on their mobile phones. They're traveling through the area. And I think many of you all know, historic National Road Scenic Byway is extremely filled with just economic opportunities. And we really want this museum to open as well. But I have to be honest with you, that is, Greensboro is fading in the rearview mirror for us. We are facing a lot of high utility costs. If you look at the back, we took over paying utilities for both the Greensboro Charlie Station as well as the Warren Phelps building in March of 21. And if anybody takes a look at that column there, if you think about a building that's really not occupied, it's a very small space. I know my utilities are about $200 a month. We can see on some of these months we're paying almost $1,200 a month. It's impossible for a nonprofit organization that doesn't have a steady stream of revenue for us to go out and raise money to build exhibits and open a museum and pay these utility costs. So we've been doing a little bit of homework, figuring that something's wrong somewhere, right? So we've had the meters checked, and in the last couple of weeks, I want to give a tremendous shout out to Kim and other staff who are helping us to find out that not only are we paying for those buildings, but we may be paying for streetlights. We are probably paying for other things that the town should be. So we've got to get to, we need to find out what's going on, and we simply can't afford to keep paying these utilities. We do pay an average of $85 a month for our water and sewer. And then if you turn over on the other page,
You know, the National Road Heritage Foundation has paid easily over $175,000 in improvements to Von Felt's building since we started. That 1920s building was gutted. We have put in windows, we've done electrical work, we had to pour concrete in the basement. And we pretty much brought it down to its original timbers and so forth, and probably had to replace most of the 2x4s. So we've invested a lot in that town. And we're happy to have done that. Don't get us wrong. Very appreciative, and we had to do what had to be done. But since then, we have also found we needed bathrooms. You can have 2 bathrooms, you can have 10 bathrooms. You have visitors, you have to have bathrooms, especially if you have motorboat shoots coming. You don't have any places in this town where 40 people can go to the bathroom. We need to have bathrooms. We have done our due diligence. We had money to install commercial toilets, have a handicap restroom. Most recently, I personally helped the town of Boonesboro get over $200,000 for various projects in town, including an additional $75,000 to support the bathrooms in that building. Our hope is that not only will that be a National Road Museum, but it'll be a welcome center for the town of Boonesboro. Because we want to be open as many days as possible. So there's no better place for people when they arrive to go to the National Museum. We need to use a bathroom, we want to see the museum, what restaurant should we go to? Most of our EDC and folks are really excited about that. We know it can be everything, but you gotta have bathrooms. Unfortunately, we went to install a commercial toilet, but the toilet in doesn't flush. The water supply is not for that building. There's either a clogged line, there's a lot of issues there. And so if there's not enough water pressure to flush the toilet, we can't open a museum. We can't do anything. We've got to flush our toilets. We've got to be able to address that. So we need your help with that. Some other issues there, there's a leaking canopy. If you're in front of the building, it's got that beautiful canopy there. It's leaking. It probably should be addressed so it doesn't get worse. If you walk around the building, the steps and railings are completely rotted out at every entrance to that. Moving on just to the Boonesboro trolley station. So we had the trolley station closed, and we were thinking, you know what? We need to open up the trolley station and use that to leverage our efforts to raise money, and also just because it is a treasure in town. It's the last standing trolley station. When we think about where we are in this area with transportation history and heritage, we are the crossroads of American transportation, folks. C&O Canal, we're going to have a Hagerstown Aviation Museum opening. We are on the National Road. We have the last standing trolley station. We have railroad history. We are a gold mine for transportation heritage and history, especially with significant anniversaries coming up with the B&O, the C&O Canal, and then America's 250th, 2026, folks. The National Road is one of the quintessential stories of American history. We have a chance to capture that and bring so many people down. We need some repairs at the trolley station. Again, it's possible for us to open up a museum, cover these costs, and these are things that we feel that the town could hopefully help us with without being a burden to you expense-wise. Many of these things are really just rotted wood, chipping paint, things that we know Greg has told us that they're not to quote him, but we've had great conversations with him. He's just been so helpful, and is another great staff person. We love him. And we've talked about these things down at the trolley, that perhaps they could replace a rotted panel on one of the steps. I wanted to also just mention, Ruben is here. Earlier this year, we secured a small grant that allowed us to update the exhibits in that trolley station. There were paper exhibits that have been there for 14 years. And Ruben has put in over 340 hours of his own time this year to update the exhibits and help us with it. That's just tremendous. It's given us a whole new opportunity to at least open up that museum. We've had lots of new folks come through there, and it also helps us to promote the National Road Museum. You guys know, when you walk into the door, if you can feel the passion and get excited, how can you not then want to support the National Road Museum? But again, we can't continue to do that where we are right now. So I wanted to just mention, I'm not going to read word for word again, just some of the visitation statistics since Ruben's been able to update those. We are in the process of trying to find some docents. And we've been working very closely with Greensboro Museum of History, World Heritage Museum, to try to get all of our museums open at the same time, so we can all benefit from it. So again, we're at crossroads, folks. We just simply cannot continue. We always have the option of taking our design exhibits and going to any one of the other 7 jurisdictions in the state of Maryland on the national road and say, hey, we'd love to open our museum in their community. Because we could do that now. We've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars, almost $250,000 in planning visitor experiences, having state-of-the-art exhibits with stories and themes. We can take that, but we really don't want to do that. I think I can speak for everybody else here. But I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm sorry to use the word I wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning and think about, how are we gonna fix the toilets? I like raising money. I can tell you it's getting really difficult for me to go to a funder and have that same passion and drive and ask for money about opening a museum. Nobody wants to hear that you can't flush your toilets. Nobody wants to see that your building's falling apart and that you have no way of having a sustainable and viable museum. I'm with them, Bart. I'm tired. It's hard for me to do it. I also can't, I can't go out and ask somebody to swim on a board, because not only do you have to raise money, but somehow we've got to figure out how we're going to push the toilets. We can't do big sales. It's things that are really big picture things. So I'm here today on behalf of our organization asking for your help, and we're really committed to helping us with these issues, starting with figuring out the utilities. As I mentioned, Greg and Kim have been just fantastic, and we just need to figure out how that meter is split up so we get it so that we can make it manageable. But also mainly that we come back to you and ask us for a reimbursement of almost $10,000 in utilities. And that's been a big, that's our, right now, our operational expenses with normal utilities and insurance and things is about $12,000 to $15,000 a year. Our bank account is free, and it's very hard for fundraising to go out and ask for operational costs. A lot of grants and stuff don't do that. We do have $6,000 to purchase new software, fundraising and donor management software. We have $12,000 that's going to allow us to hire a consultant to do our operations management plan. So we are in really good shape in other areas, but we just can't continue this path, and we really need your help.
Tonight's the first I've heard about streetlights. I am aware about one Delta Spring, that you are paying it, and we are too. I do have Dave Klein working on that, trying to figure out what's going on. Has Dave called you back?
He hasn't yet,
Back to?
not since I sent the last email to him.
Okay. So we're trying to find out why you're getting billed for one Delta Springs Electric, and we are too. So we're both paying. Tom Guess is getting double. Today's the first I've heard about streetlights.
And I don't know if that's a fact or not. We've just been speculating that there's something else.
I think the majority of your expenses probably come from the one Delta Spring.
And that was, that one pump, the pump is mentioned for sure. Because we are right over this spring.
Greg, is there any way you stop down there and check to see why that toilet won't flush?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
'cause
water
it's a-
pressure.
It's a 3-quarter and 4-9, it was put in the early 2000s. When they did the Main Street project. So every house in Boothborough on Main Street has a single water line. Maybe the answer is to put a pressure tank in the basement. So you'll build up enough pressure to flush the toilet. If not, then you're gonna go the expensive route, you're across the street at the main.
It would probably be cheaper to put that pressure. tank
Yeah,
in.
and Maryland code now is an inch and a half. Inch and a half line into the house is built. That's a 3/4 line. Well, I will check it. Should be plenty of pressure to
So
flush.
the utility breakdown on the back is not just water and sewer. It's all
And
your-
That's the electric.
Power, electric.
This is just electric.
This is what we have paid for
And so
electric.
if you overpaid electric, you didn't write the check to the town of Boothborough, so we wouldn't be reimbursing you. That would be some guess. I mean, if they're electric bills, you know what I mean? Like that would be.
Well, they're not gonna just waive somebody paying the bill.
Correct, I mean, they have to rebill us, but I mean, we wouldn't be paying for something you didn't pay to us. Now, if this was utilities, the water and sewer, and there's an issue, you know what I mean? Again, but,
And
yeah.
Two of us is paying for that one.
Well, yeah, so then they've been
Us and them,
double
so-
dipping.
Get it
Right, it'd be from the time we get it,
Yes.
not.
Yeah, and maybe I misspoke, but
Yeah.
point is that I'm getting that money back from someplace, and we still need to figure out the process. The good thing is the wheels are in motion, and we've identified that there definitely is an issue with these rates. There's something out of whack there.
Did
From
you just
Providence,
not
guys.
include
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple,
because there's a couple months.
a couple of months on both?
And I'm sorry, but I can't speak to that for the gaps in the payments.
But the gaps there was 2 months that we were not billed.
So anywhere there's a blank, you were not billed at all.
We were not billed for those 2 months that we could find anything that we paid. And this is from our bookkeeper, yes.
And then there's like 5 months on the trolley station. There's blanks.
And sometimes they average those bills out, so that may have something to do with it.
But from there on down, it's all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's consistent.
it's all consistent. So
And if you also look, that was in 2021.
Yeah.
And that's when all this changeover was done, in 2021.
when you say changeover, what do you mean by that? When you take it from your
Taken from the, yes, from the town of Boonesboro.
Okay, so March 21 is when it all started.
It's in, once the project was started, you all did not charge us utilities. to Help us get off our,
Correct.
on our feet. And then when the change was made, this is
So that's where it all started, March of 2020.
basically.
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I think that our first priority is to get Potomac Edison involved. And they need to come down, they need to figure this out too. Because you go from $1,200 to, I mean, there's 4 months in here. I mean, that doesn't even make sense.
Well, and our next door neighbor, Paul, who has staff there 5 days a week and certainly has a lot more power, his is probably about $806.
He's got a lot of computers and everything in there.
So, but you all own the building and we need your help. We need you to take the lead. We're volunteers, we're trying to do everything else and we're working. If we have to come to meetings or whatever we have to do, but we really need you all to jump in and help us. And it's timely. Every month that goes by, we have to pay another thousands of dollars or whatever is less money we have to keep on things.
So then what happened in May 2023? It just dropped down to $100. What change occurred there?
You tell us, we just get the bill. We've had,
Okay, so you didn't,
we've had the meters checked, we've had the meters checked multiple times. We've had people come in to evaluate the building. I mean, obviously, the temperature we set on is very conservative. We have meetings there maybe once a month.
But when you keep saying you tell us, what do we have to do with the power? That's where I guess I'm confused.
You guys own the
We
building,
own the building.
so we need you all to help us.
so we need to
figure out.
partner, we maybe need to partner with you to.
Right, but then when I'm in rental property, you know what I mean? That person pays the electric bill, I'm not, you know what I mean?
But you know, there are other things.
Doing something intentionally wrong.
And I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to say that we just don't want this to just get put on hold. Because we, every time we write a check, that's less money. For me, trying to raise money, it's one step forward, 5
It's like
steps.
that any building you operate is gonna have utility costs. I mean,
But
that has to be in your working
yes,
budget.
and it is, but not at $1,200 a month.
Again, but that's not us, we're not doing that.
Generally,
But the thing is that when you,
Well,
if
if I had an electric bill that went from $192 to $1,192, I've been on the phone asking right now.
the point is when you all decide this, there's obviously a misunderstanding of what's tied to that meter. And that's-
Right, so that's what we're trying to, from our,
You're like approaching it like we're doing something.
No. I'm just really frustrated.
I understand.
I just ask you.
And we're frustrated too, because that's prime commercial real estate to me. You know,
I
I
agree.
get it.
I
You know what
agree.
And I don't know where we stand with the business plan, you know what I mean, to open up and.
We can do that, but if I'm somebody's writing a check, I have somebody waiting to send us a check for $10,000. Okay, but he wants to know what's gonna happen tonight, and I don't blame him. Because you all own the building, and we need you to get the meter right so we can pay what's correct. It's not a fault thing, it's just that we are at a crossroads. And we just,
Tiffany, we are trying. That's why,
exactly.
since Kim showed me that letter,
Right,
I'll tell you, please. Soon as Kim showed me the letter, first thing I did was call Dave Klein and say, hey, Dave, we got a problem. He says, yeah, I'm aware of it, and I'm trying to find out what's going on, why those places are being built. He said, we'll get to the bottom of it. He said, I don't know how long it'll take, but he said, will get to the bottom of it. And Dave's a pretty good guy, and Dave will work with us. He's a big shot with.
He's like their community relationship.
Yeah.
And they are consistently supporting us financially. for
Yes,
it.
they do.
So
They
they
give
have
you all
all
money.
ours.
Yeah.
And I apologize if I'm.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in.
And I'm saying that you're not, no.
No,
I'm just saying, that we just want to make sure, we're at the point where we can't do anything more with the Timoth House. We've tried to do that for the last couple months. We need the owner of the building to step in and help us figure out
And
what's tied to that meter, so we can then figure out the budget.
Right.
What we should and can be, right?
we're trying to find it.
Right, right.
In order to find out what, you gotta protect the building.
Exactly.
You do.
We own it.
And we are going to get to the bottom of it, finding out why you're paying with something that we are paying to, and that's not right. Somebody needs to be reimbursed. And it sounds like some goes, that owes you all a lot of money.
Well, it would certainly help, it'd be like winning the lottery.
Well, it sounds like there's some things wrong with that place, the steps and.
Well, that was just gonna say,
That's
is
something that
now-
us as a landlord, we should be taking care of.
Ray
You
just mentioned the water pump,
Checks
so.
on them things.
Absolutely will.
Yeah.
I also understand it not to touch that, because we wouldn't supposed to be mowing the grass. It's households.
We're still doing it.
But unfortunately, I mean, there are things that were done on a handshake, and then we have our leaks. And we want to do what's right, but we just, again, being officers, to keep moving forward, we need to have a plan and know what we have to do, what we can do, what we need to budget.
I'll give David a call again tomorrow morning and see where he's made any headway of finding out what's going on. So, hopefully we can get you an answer.
So as far as the potential donors are concerned, the mayor and council have stated that it's our building, the property, the investment can't give any kind of time frame, but clearly, so here we say, given your, give that product.
So if possible, I mean, I'd like to have some kind of commitment about the water issue. I mean, we are at the point where we have money to install the first baseline exhibits. But in order to do that, we have to have lighting put in, which we have $50-some thousand, we have a farm bill, and then address the restrooms. And that stuff really needs to be done before we put in.
Yeah, I mean, I did Greg House, much something like that would cost.
Let me get down tomorrow and check the pressure and see what's wrong with it. They had to just put it in, when they remodeled the place, right? So the county let them go by.
Yeah, this is a
Yes,
commercial.
Oh, but what happened was, we put the commercial bath, the commercial toilet
See,
in,
before they bring the bathrooms up
the
there.
commercial toilet in, and that's when it took effect. Because
I'll come down tomorrow with the gauge and I'll check the pressure inside the building. Exactly. If it comes to worst case scenario, you gotta go across the street for the line. If not, you can put a pressure tank in the basement.
Well, does it have to be a commercial toilet though? Can you put 2 regular toilets in there? Well, they're
we need more
worried
than
about
2 bathrooms, we also have to put in the handy.
Yeah.
Sounds like something's wrong with me, because that's the part we have a commercial for. If they offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I think something's wrong.
You don't want to.
I gotta tell you, like, somebody
Might be a
Residential toilet.
I love it, we just need to have that happen, you know. Just floating out there, everybody's intended. And again, we just can't make these big commitments
Right.
unless we feel that we have a building that's not going to bankrupt us, and that we can have the infrastructure, everything where it needs to be.
Your success is Boonesboro's success. But the more people you draw in the town, the better, the more business benefit. If people come to town, see that museum and bus, they need someplace to eat.
We need bathrooms, and transportation, but like I said, we are very grateful. We know you all know the history, you know what we want to do. You've been there, you've seen our presentations, you've heard our numbers. But like I said, these are big issues that are just.
So have you gotten any estimates for like the fixing the gutters or the fixing of the steps and porches or?
No, because
Like to know.
honestly, Marlene, we are so consumed with trying to raise the money to open the museum and address these issues that we're bringing to you today. And so, like I said, it just keeps adding up, you know what I'm saying? It just, everything keeps
Well, I
adding
guess
up.
my biggest, I just, from a business standpoint, like if my building can't hold people to come in and see it, then that would be my first priority before I'm working anything else. So I don't understand, because these things didn't just happen overnight. I mean, I don't know what spurred this tonight that it became.
Because we have to make a decision as volunteers. I'm done. I've already resigned from the board this calendar year. I put years and years of my life.
I know
into
you have,
this.
been working on it.
And it is, again, one step forward, 5 steps back. Because as you know, things, they deteriorate, right? A sustainable, viable organization, a nonprofit, has an endowment, has revenue coming in.
And we don't have any of
that.
that set up. So that's what I'm asking, like, if we keep doing these things, are we still just?
That was our goal.
You know.
But anytime we get a little bit of money put aside, we have to do these emergency things. And without knowing if we're gonna have water, we have to put a pump, or doing these extra things, it just eats away, like I said. And then when you have donors who want to give you money, they're gonna back off because they're looking at our balance sheet and the fact that we're not gonna, it would be so great for us to be able to say, we are definitely gonna open in 2024. We've been saying that for years, every time we do it. And then COVID, I don't want to blame COVID, but
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
it
it's
impacted
gone a
us.
lot, yeah.
And then, like I said,
And now the economy.
Victoria passed away, George no longer, we've got new board members. It's just one thing after.
Right,
And
Tiffany, I hear a lot of burnout,
yeah,
and I hear a lot of frustration,
yeah,
but this is our first time
yeah.
hearing any of this, and we are not pushing you to the side by any means.
No, and I know that, and that's why
But
I'm.
you do have to give us the ability to start to
Right.
looking into it. So I think your first step was to come here and
Yes.
to lay it out. And it's fine to be frustrated, but we need to partner together.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that's where you are, is that you just need to get some answers. But again, this is the first time I've heard about it. So give us an opportunity to dig in and partner with you.
And that's.
And we'll see whether we can come up with some solutions. But I can tell you right now, I've been on the phone a long time ago with Timmy Henson. I would not
With
take
us,
these.
yeah.
I would not
The way I
take these.
understand, they did contact Tom Garrison, but Tom Garrison didn't do anything for basically.
I mean, I understand, COVID
But
put
we,
people at home and they weren't working in the offices, and it's hard to get hold of people, but yeah, I mean, I understand.
We got to the right person this time.
So-
Great client.
But we need
Anybody
answers.
can straighten things out.
We all need answers.
And like I said, Kim has just been really great too, and Greg. So I apologize if my frustration is coming out. It's just that I really want to see this museum open.
We all do.
I would bet a lot of money that it is going to be a really great thing for the town, our community in many ways. But we are just, like I said, we're at a crossroad, and it's hard for us as volunteers. And we know that you all have been a great partner, and that's why we're here tonight saying we really.
We'll find out where somebody can meet Greg down there. You gotta keep, okay.
Just out of curiosity, why don't we, if this is a town building, why,
It's the lease,
if
the
we
way
have
it
land,
is.
then why would you be concerned about, going outside and getting estimates right and say, it really doesn't work, or there's a broken, whatever.
I need to look at the lease, right?
The lease is written different.
We gotta look at the lease.
That's what I'm asking.
I don't know what the lease says. I didn't sign.
Well, and where we have estimates, when I helped to write the grant for the town, we have estimate on the bathroom. But it clearly states in there about the line, that's infrastructure. That's like a water.
Operation is one thing, but I mean, if they.
So it's the
We're just
water
calling that
supply.
town building, and, it's a town building.
Yeah, no, I see.
We'll get the word figured out.
Yeah, we'll get it figured
That
out.
line was just put in 2000, so it's definitely AWWA standards. It's up to AWWA standards.
I mean, the great thing is we have a lot of the money in the bank specifically earmarked for toilets, lighting those things. That's a great thing. It's just that we can't move forward to adjust it.
That makes sense.
So the one comment that I have, water and sewer, $85 a month, for $250 a quarter, that's more than my bill in my residence.
Oh, don't even bring out.
With showers every day, a couple of people laundry
I
every
mean-
day. I mean, and I know you don't have the answer, but that's something else that we have to, what the heck's going on with that? There's gotta be a leak somewhere. That's a lot of money.
I haven't even, you know what, sir, I haven't even thought about it.
$85 a month is pretty long time. Something else. We'll have to think about it.
So thank you again, you've always been so great,
I don't
and
know you more than you know what.
so grateful for your time tonight, and so I apologize if my emotions have gotten the best of me, but like I said, we are very committed to this, we have a lot of people behind us in many ways, and it is gonna be great. And I think that building will be transformed, that we just got these bigger issues.
Greg, will you be able to take care of the steps in the rotten?
Yes. Yeah, I was always told that the lease side that they were supposed to take care of it. So I was told one time to stop mowing the grass when you're supposed to be mowing the grass in that little section. It takes me like 5 minutes.
Yes. Continue.
Tim's gonna pull the lease, Howard's gonna figure things
Yeah,
out.
we could have brought that, I'm sorry.
The town has to know when it is too, because we can't, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Not bringing it.
We'll get checked out.
So is there anything as a follow-up that I can do for you or we can provide for you all? I would ask, please take some time to visit the trolley station. I think you'd be really amazed and overwhelmed by just all the new exhibits in the farm. I want to thank Olivia because we all know volunteers are doing it.
Well, you talked to Dave, haven't you, Dick?
Yes, that's how, I've been, touch with Dave, and, I've been in touch with Kim and I, Dave, and we, that's how it came about, to find out what's happening here. Because my calls were, to Potomac Edison, check out the meter, must be something on the meter. But we found that apparently the meter's fine, that there's no problem. And then all this came up, and then we said, well, let's check where the meters are. And so Ruben went out and took pictures of a couple of the meters around, and we found out that we do not have 2 meters. We don't have a separate meter for the trolley station. Now, all this is just from the life now.
Was Charlie on with the?
The trolley's on with the museum. And I called Doug Cronice, and he said at the time that we renovated the trolley station, that it was a cost of like $10,000 to put a separate meter in that had to run from the pole in, and that would have been the town's burden on that. And so a better solution at that time was to run everything over to 1 meter. Well, nobody, we weren't aware of that. I'll say that.
Because we weren't paying utilities.
But we weren't paying utilities at the time. Then when it came up and they said the 2 meters, well, I'm just assumed that there was 2 meters, one over there and one here. But after investigating, this is the things we're finding now.
Right, and then we found out that the actual second meter,
Yeah.
when they look it up through Potomac Edison, it comes up as the pump
So
house.
probably this one whole column is the town's responsibility.
Well, but we have been paying
Oh,
for, so it's, we're being billed for it and they're being billed for it. So that's what we're trying to,
We're trying to explain to Dave,
yeah.
we're both paying the same bill.
Yes. And the other thing they did, they put in.
So when they put it in, they just, they keyed it in somehow wrong.
Well, it's how it's in Potomac Edison's computer
Yes.
system.
Right.
Which one?
Yeah.
It's being read twice, it's being
Correct.
billed twice. You need to get to the bottom of it. Again, this is new to us.
Yeah.
I understand what you were saying about what we didn't do about a new service for $10,000,
Oh, yeah.
but connecting the 2 buildings is not a problem.
But we did.
That's the way they're being billed. So, yeah.
As soon as I find something, an answer from Dave, I'll let you two know.
Okay.
You, Tiffany, or get hold of Dick.
And I guess some of these other things that we talked about, and I guess if Greg, if you get on the look, if you need us to get estimates for some of those steps and things, and we're happy to do that. Hopefully, we're hoping it wasn't too much work. Like I said, it's really just some of the steps and things that only you guys are
That's exactly.
more than capable of every day.
Once Kim pulls the leads and we do our due diligence, we find out who's responsible for what, we're still not gonna take over the deal, so.
Now, and we've never felt that you wouldn't. Like I said, we've been trying to do as much homework as we can. We just thought, if we're coming to you tonight, we want to let you know what we are, our successes. But some of these other things are just added on, so. But we just, instead of wasting your time in 2 meetings, here it is.
That's just still on your sleeve.
And we'd appreciate any help.
We'll figure out what's going on there too.
All right.
Did you see the plus for this side?
We can't do that.
Turn it on.
We're not, we're a 501c. Trust me, I looked into it.
Would have been nice, but yeah.
But and I just want to say that, we have intentions of applying for bigger funds to make the Charlie Station accessible. We have some plans to do that, but again, that museum, before we can do some.
Well, I see a young man sitting back here. I can just see things going around in his mind and in his head of possibilities. Right, Roger?
Just thinking water, water, water.
Thank you so much. Appreciate what you do. Thank you. for-
Hang in there. We're getting-
Yes, yeah, you guys. are
We can't do it, we
super-
don't know.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why we're here tonight, so we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, pull that resignation out.
Okay, facilities report. Ray, Public Works Superintendent, what you got?
We got a couple of big things. Ace Hardware is now looking into our water line. They installed it half Steve Valley the other day. I expected the whole job. They got to shove the pipe across the road. They got to hook the sewer line in. So the next couple of weeks, all that should be finished. Yesterday, when that dance work come through Pittsburgh, they destroyed that big week of road behind the green six by your house.
Oh.
Yeah, that thing's huge. There's some chunks of all like that. It just split it.
Got my neighbor's street too.
Was it just wind?
It was just been raining. It rained pretty hard too.
Yeah, raining hard and indoor.
I guess like 12 to.
Thank you.
So.
Didn't do anything.
No, it's just.
Wait, you know what to talk about?
Just missed that.
We're gonna have some clean up.
Yeah, what? And then my Curtis Wine has finished his 90-day probation. So I'll get the chair next week or two.
Okay.
Yeah. Full time.
With you tonight, I'm down Chris.
Yes, and it's free with me. I don't know where we have this one.
Yeah.
That just to put something on your radar. We got a 2008 F-650 dump truck down there that just destroyed us. We just changed all the brake lines on it. Jared's first day here, we had to pull gas tank. Gas tank was really busted out. We're putting money into it. I'm just giving you a heads up. That's not the money. We're gonna have to get rid of it.
Okay.
It's just a big one down.
Take care.
What year is it?
2008.
How many miles?
Not many, 13,000. It can only be used for leaks or water leaks or plowing stuff. You can't throw bags in the back of it. It's too cold. It's way too big. So it just, we use it every time we gotta haul something, but it's set in the garage. It's just the salt is horrible.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they
It's
got
just-
that.
Somebody's gonna still give you half of a chunk of change for it. Because it's beautiful. You look at the outside of it, it still looks like the day.
That's been about 13,000 miles.
Yep. It's just.
The engine's good.
The engine's got a Cummins motor in it. The engine's good, Allison transmission. It's just the salt just destroyed it.
Good.
We're doing everything we can. We try to do all stuff in-house.
Anything else? Anybody have any questions of Greg? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
No update on this Easter Day property.
They just moved dirt around it. And right now, there's a board company out there right now just doing a bunch of boarding. They actually come in for 2-inch holes down through all the blacktop. For the spots to check the thickness. It averages from like 1/4 inch.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, you can go out there yourself and look and see the holes over the blacktop. They call it mission utility thickness every day. What else do you got for it out there? So I don't know if somebody's planning on buying it.
And Ann's still working with the bond company to get things straightened out, so as soon as she gets Jared an answer, she's making contact with Jared and let us know. You know, like we said last time, we made it the month, and be able to do it themselves, don't get the money. They may get the bond company. Somebody gets it done.
Yep. Everything else, we got two guys running down, I'm gonna take the water distribution test, and I'm currently going to pull me down there with the water distribution test. So I'm trying to get some other guys, so I don't have to be the one inspecting all these jobs 24/7.
I know Pete's not here. Do you have any update on the dewatering? I mean, permit, nothing?
I haven't heard anything.
As far as the permit, we do not need, I talked to Pete, and Jared sent a very nice email back to Leslie at MDE. We don't need the permit until we get it up and running. MDE has the permit, they're ready for us, but they cannot release it until we know for a fact it's up and running.
All the county
So we don't see
permit- All the county permit is signed up.
everything done.
And so obviously we're just mobilizing. Start construction.
Good, good. And he said it'd take anywhere from 6 to 10 months to get it up and running. While you're still here, I stopped down here in front of the garage today and talked to the foreman who was working on the crosswalk. That will be finished tomorrow, but
Jerry and I can have a party.
But state highway has to come down and inspect it and turn it on. So I called Jared Klein today. Jared said, I will have to check with Raves Department and let you know what they said. He's supposed to let me know. They said it wouldn't be ready until the middle of July. By God, they're gonna grind the feet till the middle of July to get it up and running. He said it would take May to July. And I told that guy down there, he said, it takes a good 6 months. Sure, I said, I don't want to hear that. So we've been waiting 6 years. Right, Terry?
Yeah.
And we had that meeting up at State Place 6 years ago. And it's finally gonna get done.
Well, just to let you know, I got an email from Linda Puffenberg. And she said that your inquiry about the flashing beacons installation at Middlesbrough Main Street and Shaker Park Drive was forwarded to me. As you likely are aware, the project has been funded and awarded and a contractor for installation. I reached out to the State Highway Office of Traffic and Safety for an update and the estimate of completion and the construction. And I will share that information with you as soon as I receive it. So she has.
She doesn't even know that it's almost done. She doesn't know it's almost done. She doesn't know it's, I haven't looked at my email.
I'm just letting you know. There you go.
Thank you, Greg.
Yes, sir.
Sure. You're welcome to stay as long as you like, Glenn. Town planners report. Eric?
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm actually on the agenda in two different spots. Under the commission reports, I'll talk about the meetings a little bit. But in absence of the town planner, I'll just give you a brief few remarks here. We already did talk about the Easterville property a little bit. I had that, some notes about that. Just some observations from riding around town. Ace Hardware is coming along very nicely. I recently visited Ace Hardware Brunswick. I can only hope ours is as nice as that. They have a lot of good stuff. I'm aware that there was a little problem with using the town Valley Max parking lot, and they're looking to work that out. That's all coming along. We're good there. So with that said, 50 St. Paul, one of my favorite projects up the street here, they had promised, the developer, they had promised they would have the house ready and listed by springtime. It is nowhere near being ready to list. And this has been my pet peeve all along. The developers come here and promises everything, and then often they don't do it. And I would be speaking to that in the planning commission in a little more forceful way, shall we say. And finally, for this report, I talked to Kim today. The lady from the county, Becky, has been here one time in the absence of us having a planner. Talked to Yvette a little bit, been working with Yvette as she has questions that seem to be going fine, and they seem to have open dialogue, no problem. We didn't hear anything else about that, right? Just seems to be going, that seems to be going well. So with that, that was all I really had. I did, for Jared's benefit, the former planner had left a listing of several projects. I included that in a little more detail in the previous meeting. And I told you about that sometime online. So that's all I have for this.
Thank you, sir. Town manager?
Yeah, well, I just had a few things. Obviously, mostly my few weeks here, I've been getting acclimated to everything going on, so that's been my most time consuming thing. But I was able to, I wanted to just update, meet with quite a few commission members and board members of some of the commission boards that we have here in town, including economic development, utilities, Bluesville, Keysville utilities, Washington County Planning Department, we met with them. Anna from the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, Port Station, work that's being done in town, and being done in town. Mayor and I met with Ann, the town attorney, so I'm well. And then upcoming, I meet with the Park Board Plan Commission and Senator Coordinates coming 31st, so meet with us on a few different things. So we're looking forward to that. We have a few things we want to discuss with him and his team. One thing I have been able to get done this week that I've been working on basically since my first day is the wastewater treatment plant. Speaking of the dewatering project, there's, as you know, probably quite a few grant funding programs that are involved in this. They're handling a lot of that. And so I'm just trying to get all of that work. There's a lot of money coming in from a lot of different pots. I couldn't find anything about it the way I like to do it. Tim's been a lot of huge help. All the staff here has been huge help. So we've been able, I think, find everything, and I've been able to kind of come up with some funding charts for the project. Shared that with some of the staff. Once we also requested reimbursement for that. So another ARC reimbursement request was put up today. We'll submit that tomorrow. And then once that's finished, I will take the chart again. I'll bring it to this. I think it's a good way to simply view some of these projects in a budget breakdown. It's just how I would do one of these larger projects. It'll be helpful. So I was able to complete that today while reimbursement requesting this.
You can share that by email when you get it updated too.
Yeah, I will.
Give us a chance to look at it.
And it's a living document, so as the project progresses and we spend more money, the document will change.
Perfect, thank you.
Do you have any questions with Jared?
Maybe to that end, we talked about in the last meeting, getting checks to directly right from the LRP account. We've done that.
Right. Yes.
Signed the first couple from WRA, so that's a step in the right direction. Good for you.
A lot easier to track.
Absolutely.
Chief?
All right. For the month of June, we had 96 calls for service, 143 traffic violations, 4 parking citations. Notable events that we had, Tom, who's the new guy, he got in a chase and it ended up that the gentleman got away, was going to break off the chase. But he was able to, his spending time, he was able to find the guy on Facebook. So, because of that, he ended up charging him with a whole slew of stuff.
Nice.
Good for Tom. I mean, he could have just said, hey, you gotta have me another day. He spent the extra time and was able to find out who it was, the person down in front of him. And then that was on the 16th, and then on the 19th, DNR goes to lock up a guy up in Greenbrier State Park. They got to spin him for help when nobody was available. He volunteered and went up there and ended up having to tase the guy to get him under control.
Wow.
So again, he was criticized by some people, but I told him everything he did was totally above board. I mean, what he had to do to get the guy under control. So,
I can honestly say I know the guy from DNR.
Yeah.
He said he greatly appreciated it.
Well, that, I had to, tell me, it wasn't for him coming up, there was a taser, and tasing that guy, they had never gotten one before. Yeah, so, kudos to Tony, he's doing a good job, doing a good job.
And he's only been on patrol
6 months?
by himself.
No, that's only been about 3 months. And he still, there is some days that he's by himself,
Right,
but, we still have him with somebody most of
that's
the time.
wonderful.
But he's doing, again, I mean, he's not afraid to stick his nose in there.
Good.
I mean, and, you know, you got to understand, everybody makes mistakes, they're not on purpose, they're mistakes, and that's how you learn. And, yeah, I think he's doing a great job. I don't know if you see him out about, I mean, he does
There's
it.
a lot of people over.
Yeah. I mean, he's using that tag reader, I don't know how many sets of tags, taking off cards and taking off.
Good.
I mean, he's just burning them up.
He's hungry.
That's what you get when you get a new guy.
That's
You know what I'm saying? They've never been a police officer.
That's a DC coming out of it.
Is that what it is? And then, I mean, we did the carnival gig, we didn't actually work the carnival, we did the stuff around the carnival. And
How was that?
it wasn't bad, I mean, I did most of it by myself, I had a couple of days for a few people, but it wasn't bad. Traffic complaints like always. But as far as fights within the carnival on outside, we didn't have any of that. So it was actually a decent carnival, it was like that every year. It was mine seeing someone. And there was no increase as far as vandalism or stuff or anything like that. Yeah, and then I've been at the mayor and council meeting, but other than that, everything's going good. The new budget's been approved. If it's okay with you, I'd like to go ahead and order the new cruiser and have it, because it sometimes takes 6 months and get it taken care of. We're just gonna get another one like we did the last one and get it ordered.
Same place?
Yeah.
We have to get bids because, at least have to have bids or quotes. You already do all that. I can't remember, sorry.
We got,
Yeah, if we spend more than 10,000 or whatever, we have to have.
How'd you get that?
we got,
Different aids with different places, and actually, we did this with the state.
Yeah.
we did
we
it on-
sent them a state
well,
contract.
we did a state contract, we don't need to get.
Oh,
We
we
don't have to get out for bid.
State contract.
How long
You
we
can
got
use the same thing.
Yeah, that's what we did last time. So I just
That's
did
what
it
we did.
in order and it's good.
Get her done.
Right. That's all we
That's
need.
good enough. Anybody have any questions of Kevin? Hearing none. Thank you, sir. Mayor and council correspondence, I don't know, hope all of you got to see the fireworks. It probably was the best display that we've ever had. It lasted a full 25 minutes nonstop. They did a great job. Not very good at estimating, but I would say it was at least 1,200 people in the park that night. Talked to Kenny Angle when the fireworks were over. They didn't get traffic straightened out until 12 o'clock. So there was a lot of people in town. He said there was a lot of people from Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Never seen so many cars in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So,
They cleared out pretty fast, the parking lot across from my house.
But Kenny said they got traffic up to midnight. So they got everybody out in the park and outside streets, got them straightened up. Back to normal. Conference was good. Talked to some people down there while we were down there, so overall, MML had a pretty decent conference this year. They did a lot of changes this year. Something we all got to get used to, the times and they did certain opening session and closing session, instead of all of them being like at about 9, 10 o'clock, they had one at 8:30 in the morning. A lot of people were complaining about that, but they'll be, so,
I had no complaints for the first time, so I didn't know what to expect.
It's, that's much.
very well. Anybody have any other?
The other thing was, this was with one of my rental properties, you know what I mean? It says the city hires one to see 2 real estate. I know that we've had sometimes confusion when people get their, reviews for bills or county bills, and I don't know whether that is something we wanna stuff in bills, you know what I mean? Or not, like, I'm actually still missing a tax bill,
Me
not from
too.
the town, but
Me
from the
too.
county. Are you missing one too? Okay.
Um,
And again, you know what I mean, it was just a thought I threw out there since,
I saw that as well.
I knew we had, you know what I mean, there's always questions with people moving into town that, well, I already got my bill, it's paid in the mortgage, and it's, well, no,
The
that's
reason
the
why
county,
you
not
probably
the
haven't
town.
got your county taxes yet. They're really messed up.
I heard a story about that.
I talked to, she does the county, she's the
I was
acting,
just, it was just a
Oh,
thought.
the lady
you know what I
next
mean?
to her, that,
yes,
The
yes,
first stage was
John's, John's place.
So I just had that thought.
They don't necessarily come on the same day. I mean, you have.
I just got my tape, right? Okay.
Which one?
Town or county?
He doesn't know.
We got it right every time.
Some of them are messed up.
Yeah, I don't have my taxes.
Some of them are messed up. They're trying to find out, the people in the county playing IT and the person that's, took John Mariano's place, I talked to her today and she didn't know it was a problem. So she's gonna look into it and find out what's going on with Phil.
Well, I don't,
They're not charging people enough.
but I think Brian has a misconception. Because you don't get taxed on your full assessment,
Oh, no.
because you get a homestead credit. So if you live in your home, you get a homestead credit, exactly from your full assessed value. And then your taxes are only allowed to increase a certain percentage by county and state, by our county ordinance, but you don't get taxed everything. So there's a column that's your assessment, but then there's a column that's the assessed value you're taxed on.
When Brian
For
spoke to the
doing the
lady
bills,
at the
yeah.
county,
So I
he
just
told
didn't
her
know.
what they supplied us last year, and she said, I don't do that. I
Right.
can't do that. And Brian said, well, I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
And then she called him back later and said, oh, I can do that. So there's a lot, there's a
Yeah,
lot.
Yeah, it's all new, there's two people that's the same, and everybody else up in the county treasurer box. But I know the first year I helped to set up the software, it wasn't your assessed value. Because your assessment can increase, but they don't allow your taxes to
That's,
increase more than a certain percent.
Most people want that's the county problem.
We're getting.
Under new business, ordinance 2023-03 and ordinance to amend ordinance 2012-03. We had public hearing, everybody showed up. What do you all want to do? You want to table it until workshop and make a addition or correction, or do you want to go ahead and approve it with the change? It's up to you all.
I make a recommendation that we approve it with change. And the change that I would recommend is in section 2, letter C, that no person shall park a mobile rental vendor establishment in town square of Boonesboro without a permit from town hall. So drive me at any time.
Certificate is going to be assigned to, say on a Saturday, Nora Roberts pulls up and has a thing out there like a book signing. How do we get her to move it? Is it going to be a fine for that because she's parked legally on the street? I mean, if she violates that, what's the violation? How do we get her to move it? Like, is a question.
She working RV out there, too?
Well, I mean.
So it's not an RV, it's just,
It's like a food truck.
retail.
Yeah, this
Remember, we had that problem back there a couple months ago. So this is my question. I mean, if the legal part of the vehicle, say, oh, there's nothing we can do about it. But it's a vehicle, but it's being used for a different purpose. And we have a town ordinance, what's the violation? Hey, if you don't move your vehicle, you're going to be cited for this violation. That's fine.
It says it's a violation of this ordinance is declared a municipal infraction and subject to the terms of ordinance blah, 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 municipal infraction.
Which is $200 fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll have to
So
follow.
it'll go down to section 3, penalties for violation.
But
That
Chief, it
in there,
is,
All right.
it is in here as a motorized wheeled vehicle versus a motor home. So you're covered on anything.
Okay.
No, it's not.
It's a mobile retail vendor.
That's not.
Yeah, that's not, see, I understand that, yeah.
So the mobile home that she parked down here during Girls' Night Out was set up as a store. Yes.
It's a book.
So that's considered as
That's
a
what-
vendor.
how you
One
do traffic.
One wanted the authors in there signing
Yes.
as well, you know. We said we'd give it a try.
Those
And
two
they
days.
did work out.
It didn't work.
Well, if they wouldn't do it in rush hour, it wouldn't be that big. of a deal. Yeah.
Well, that would, if we say by permit, then that's.
You can do this, yeah,
that we don't have to complete people without. This will be, no, we're not. I'll second Jimmy's motion.
Here we have a motion to accept it with one change under C, section 2C. No person shall park a mobile retail vendor establishment in the town square of Bloomsburg without a permit. And the cover chief under that, section 3 is penalties for violation of this ordinance is declared a municipal infraction and is subject to the terms of ordinance number 2001-03 municipal infractions. Which is either, we'll have to check and see, it's either 200 or 250, I forget. It's one of those two. But we can look at it.
Yeah, I think it's
either 2
200.
or 250. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion?
I would have, I agree, but I would have a question. How do we make this public knowledge for the future? Just goes on the website, and people expect it to.
It should come out in the newsletter.
Well, we
I
put
guess.
out in the next
That would be a
newsletter,
good idea.
So maybe we
And
don't need to
maybe
decide.
just put it on our town website.
put it on the website, we'll also put it in the next newsletter.
Any social media you can get it on, I guess.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstain. Motion carries. RFP bid results, Economic Development Commission, Tourism, Website and Marketing. Skipjack, web service bid and revised website bid. You got the information on that? You did? Okay, right.
So the background on that, the EDC got a $23,000 grant from Rural Development, Maryland Economic
Oh,
Development.
you'll have to get us another one to sign with the change.
He was passing.
I was gonna pass this round to have it signed, but you'll have to.
You can still sign it. It's the other page that has all the writing
Oh,
on it.
that's the other thing, okay.
You can trust me, I'll change.
I know. I'm sorry, Ray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody ready? Yes, sir. All right,
$23,000.
23 grand, Rural Maryland Economic Development Fund, for the creation of Discover Bloomsburg Tourism website. They got 5 proposals, eliminate 3 off the bat because they're economically not feasible. Came down to these 2, Skipjack and Revise.
Thanks, Ray.
They looked at all of them. They have decided they voted today. They would like to go with Revive for a couple reasons. One, the system they use is less prone to hacks. Okay, apparently WordPress is being used by Skipjack, and it's something that hackers can easily get into. Revive is good at those town websites or some commerce type organizations. Includes their proposal includes training. We're allowed to have a liaison. It's got a free website design, and it's got about basically the net cost is $9,700, and they have a maintenance fee, $3,200 a year, with unlimited tech support. So basically, we're going to be able to get a website, and we're going to be able to cover the maintenance agreement for about the first 4 years of it. So with council permission, any questions on that?
Well, yeah, the other girl was a former member of the EDC and it's local, and you're gonna get some of the Michigan, because it's
Kristen Bowles, yeah,
But didn't
Kristen Bowles.
she was gonna do something for the town or something, and then she backed out.
yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Well, in her
In
defense,
her
that,
defense,
that
yeah.
wasn't really
She wasn't-
how it worked
Yeah,
out. but-
she was gonna then have to be required to fundraise.
And really, all of that, this really had nothing to do with any of that from him, it's just, it's a better package.
Because of the
And
hacking
that
and
is
stuff.
because of tech support. Kristen both does run Skipjack, and they consider them both, and just for the main reasons I expressed that they're going with what they consider to be a better package.
Well, that sounds good, right? I mean, I think it's premature, but the 4 years is up. Then they'll have to have another funding discussion.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Kristen, you know, her program was, apparently it's really prone to hacking. We got some techies in the EDC that were concerned about that. And she did not have enough support. But, you know, so.
That motion, right?
But
Yeah,
isn't
let's
she
make a
less
motion.
money?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't her bid less money?
It is a little, no, they were close, not the same. But I think it would be more expensive to go with her because it did not include the training, it didn't include the maintenance. So,
You know what struck me about Revise? How unprofessional this bid
Yeah.
was. For a web designer.
Yeah, so
I mean, the pages are scanned crooked and, I mean, to me, that's a turnoff, but it's not my organization.
I'm just loyal, I'm loyal to people, I would have gone with. you know,
yeah, I have a hard time voting something that's not even familiar because somebody is gonna have to put an awful lot of time here to get the website designed. I mean, they're not gonna fly.
Well, they use it for the
You've got
Boothborough
somebody
Town
that's
Lines and
here.
EDC.
What'd you say?
They're using this.
Well, then I have a problem with that too, because once again, this town alliance is member-based and needs to be a separate organization. And
It is.
town sharing and the town alliance sharing things starts to get in that gray area
They're
of
not sharing.
how to do that.
No, but they're gonna use that.
They're gonna use, just because they're using it,
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's the same thing.
yeah, they're paying for their own. So,
Coming out of their budget, this
Yeah.
money?
Well, they got a grant for it, yeah. So we just need to kind of approve the application to go ahead and do it. I'm with you guys on, this is what, you know, the EDC, they discussed this in detail, and they all weighed in on it, they all looked at it, and this is kind of where they wanted to go. I don't have a vote on it. Yeah, I prefer to keep things open, that's my purpose, I don't have a vote.
so you make a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the EDC to acquire, was it Revise?
Yeah.
Revise for the new Sturbridge Boothborough website.
I have a motion to give EDC permission to go ahead and use Revive's website, bid. Do we have a second?
You said some of these people are tech savvy, right? In the
They're all-
EDC.
Yes.
More than me.
Oh,
Okay.
Diana and Ron.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Well, I would just say the EDC failed to meet their mission of supporting their own local business.
Yeah, well,
With recommending someone out of the area versus local.
duly noted. It was discussed.
Cannot,
Very
And discussed.
cannot support that.
Yeah, support your local.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carried by a vote of 4-2.
Who were my opposers?
Apparently,
Okay.
Request to renew professional consulting and lobbying contract with Roger. Roger, would you like to make any comments, sir?
So it's been a pleasure representing the town. I'm extremely proud of what we've done. I know it's been a lot of work. It doesn't really stop. Going down to Annapolis, the town hall meeting that you all did, the work of the Board of Education. It's been a lot. But I think the results are pretty clear. You've done very well. I think Annapolis knows who you are. I was tickled when Governor Moore mentioned Boothborough in the state address. He said from Baltimore to Boothborough. We haven't heard that in the
state address. I don't know when the last time that happened. But there's more work to do. The federal money's coming down the pipeline. I think you guys are well prepared for it. All of that work and the conferences and meeting with state senators and meeting with presiding officers, staff, committee chairs, all of that was obviously to approach the legislature for direct funding, which you all have been very successful at achieving, but a lot of it's been to sort of paint the town of Boonesborough in a favorable light, because the real money is the competitive grant process through the agencies. And while that is a competitive process and there's merits to it and it's a sport process, I think that there's a lot of cross-pollination. When people are talking about the town favorably, and you're getting, money in the state budget, the capital budget, year after year, you start looking like a safe bet. And it's kind of a strange phenomenon that, the better you do, the better you'll do. And I think that's what's happening. So I'm proud of the town. It's great to see. And I'd love to continue on with you. Under the RFP from 2022, that I was successful in being awarded, you all have the option, you have the option, not me, to extend the contract under the existing terms. I think that's Roman numeral V for 5, to extend the contract under the existing terms for another year. So I'd be honored to continue with you. And it's just been a privilege. And I think you're in a really good place. I think it sounds like a great place.
Anybody have any questions?
I would just say, very nice to meet you, sir. And what do you think, just very quickly, what do you see that might be in the hopper for us? Specifically, the lady from the National Emergency Unit, is there anything, I could see you with the wheels turning.
I could too.
And, I just wondered what your thoughts were about that or anything else.
I couldn't help but to see that he helped Wayne's department, so there's stars most time.
Well, what really got my brain going was when she was talking about the water, the problems with the water. Last year, when we all sat down and tried to figure out what the key priorities were for the town, obviously there's road issues, right? There's economic development issues, there's annexation issues. But the one that kind of rose to the top was, we all have serious water problems. So we decided.
Yeah, but that's, I'm sorry, but there's a laundromat, like right on the street that runs washing machines that it has for years. So there's gotta be something else going on there. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a water
What,
issue.
with her water?
Yeah, there's a commercial service station that has, you know what I mean? And there's something, either the line or something installed or something specific. It's not a town water.
But the
It's like
town.
a consistent issue. You know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's either just been, like they haven't used water every year because it's been a closed building.
I think it's just a sore point a little bit because we've been so focused on water.
But you know what I mean? I'm saying there's been a commercial laundromat operating right beside there.
Yeah.
50 years.
Yes, I think we're talking about two.
So, yeah.
I know
You know
what
what
you're
I'm saying?
saying.
Like, yeah,
I think
there's
he's
how
speaking
you
of
water
reservoir.
pressure. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I don't
I
think the
think-
water.
Councilman, to your question, I think the big issue going forward is water.
Yeah, now replacing the pipe things is an issue.
Yeah.
You know, that's not bad.
But, I mean, the projects that you were successful in getting funded, most of it's water. And I sort of feel like even though it's hard to get that money, I see this almost like a low hanging fruit. The big get is the federal money that's coming down the pipeline, no pun intended, in the next year or two. There's a lot of money. It's going to be very competitive. There's a couple hundred towns in the state of Maryland, 24 counties, 23 in the city. I think what I was told in Annapolis at the end of last session from the second floor of the governor's office, from presiding officers in the House and the Senate, is they only heard really 3 jurisdictions. Baltimore City, Boonesborough, and one on the Eastern Shore. I love all of that. right? That means we're on the list. Everybody knows Boonesboro's got a water problem, and it's a serious water problem. It's embedded, right? So again, Councilmember Kearns, when that competitive process opens up through MDE and the federal money flowing through MDE, I think it's just going to be very influential, the fact that you're on everybody's lips. You know, the town of Boonesboro's on everybody's lips. And we'll approach next year, you know, the same way we did in 2023, through the legislature for discretionary monies, in the capital budget. But in addition to that, the competitive grant process, which is a wholly different process. I feel like there's enough cross-pollination and sort of buzz about the town that is going to sway, you know, how your application, your grant application is going to be scored, for good reason, because you've already made the case that the town has a great need and that you're a safe bet. And not everybody's done that yet. As I said, I've heard 3, and I've heard it multiple times, Baltimore City, Boonesboro, and I think that's where from Baltimore to Boonesboro came from the governor's state address. And I don't want to say the wrong town or county, but I believe it's Talbot, but I might be wrong about that. Might be Caroline, but there's one other on the Eastern Shore that has a great need, or a great demonstrated need. So I just feel great about where you all are at, and you know, thank you for bearing with me. You know, dragging you to all these conferences and Annapolis and through that town hall meeting, you know, mess, you know, what you all have to go through with the board that plus their parts. I just think it worked out. And also, you all are very fortunate to have a great state senator, Paul Quarterman, Mary, Liz, his staff is incredible. Commissioner Klein, Congressman Trump. It's been a wonderful team. So I think Jared's going to be, you're going to have your hands full. I think yours too. Thank you, Roger.
And if I may, I wasn't prompted, I've worked with Roger 2 times exclusively, last year with Mako, and this year, my first time attending MML. And what I feel and what I experience, Roger knows everybody. Roger served and has stayed in contact with and knows the ins and outs of Annapolis. I mean, he just knows who to talk to, when to talk to, and who to approach. And Roger's not bashful. Roger will drag you and say, you know, so-and-so, Mr. Secretary, and the Secretary, this is Assistant Mayor Nally, you know, want to introduce you, throws that priority booklet out in front of everybody that we ever speak with. I know that Roger is extremely well liked, and he's nonpartisan. Roger's there to do a job, and I feel that being able to experience that time with him, those 2 conferences, that he has our interest at heart. And I know that he works for us, and I would support him for another 12 months, because I think we have a lot of work to do. I was just there with you at MML. I'm going to be there again this year at Mako.
And Chris Field.
And well, I think Chris Field's a yes right now. But
What's the dates for Chris Field? I want to get back.
it's in September.
I think it's September 26th.
Yeah,
I might be
the latter
wrong about
part is
that.
September.
I just remember it's high.
Yeah, just keep us in the loop with that.
Last year, it was comfortable then.
We got lucky last year. Yes, we did.
I'm like calling sick that day. I was going to be employed until the end of, to November 15th. I'm like, it's sick.
If you're not a registered federal lobbyist, right, you're just a state lobbyist.
No, ma'am. So under the federal, I'm pretty on top of this. We actually nervous about all this ethics stuff. I'm also an attorney. And I spoke with the Ethics Council in Congress some time ago when I first hung out my shingle. There's I can lobby the federal government, I can lobby Congress, as long as the percentage of my work falls below a certain threshold. I think I remember it's 20%. I'm not even close to that.
Okay.
So I have a handful of conversations
You
with.
would be able to speak with Congressman Trump.
Yes, ma'am, that's why I am able to do so.
Okay.
A great, I'd say 80% of my work, my paid work, is consulting and lobbying. 20% my law practice. I don't know, it might be a 2% that's federal, that's on it too. But it's very, very small. And if I don't suspect it, I will ever meet that threshold. I like working with, local government. So.
You all go one day looking at Annapolis, and you'll find out why he's in great shape that he's in. He takes you up down them hills, going in and out, buildings up downstairs. Meet with these people.
I'm used to it. I know that, you're all getting used to it, but.
That night that we were down there, I'll tell you, when we were finished, my butt was dragging. I'm out of shape, I'm not in the shape you are, but it was well worth it. This is worth everything that we worked hard for.
I think they have great affection for the town down there. It's been
Thanks.
rewarding to see it, makes me proud of you, so. And it's fortunate.
So then you gotta take that as a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we extend Roger Leonard's contract for another 12 months.
Whatever you want to call it. Second.
I'll second.
We got Duet.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion?
Is it the same salary?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, and I'm sorry about that, a little confusing there.
Did we didn't put this out for bid?
Yes, we did. We never got any bids, did we?
I did.
It's on the website. It was not sent to anyone because we started conversations with Roger.
So we have-
Well, and since we have an option to renew.
Yes.
Identical terms. Right. But again, our game is a little different going forward because of the federal money. That's how it happens.
So we have no additional options to extend next year.
Yes. Yeah, it's a one year, it was a 1 year RFP with 1 year option to extend the town.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Abstaining. Motion carries.
Thanks.
Thank
Welcome
you.
back aboard.
Thank you.
We have a lot of work to do.
Yes, we did.
Can I just say this there? Sure. My internal sort of clock and, like deadline for when I believe for the starting date for the pre-2024 legislative session is actually Labor Day. In my mind, that's when I feel like I have to have my ducks in a row. That's just my own sort of what goes on in my head. So between now and Mako, like we did last year, we're gonna have to make some presentations to some cabinet secretaries, some lawmakers. So that when we go to the cabinet secretaries, speed dating roundtable,
I didn't like that.
it's terrible. It's terrible. It's completely out of us.
That was organized chaos.
Well, first of all, we didn't have big enough.
It is organized chaos, that's just there. But the hope is that when we get there, they'll already know what we're there for. And then once, September comes around, I feel like we're not panicking to get in the queue for January. And of course, by January, when we show up in Annapolis, everybody's gonna know. what we're there.
Anytime you want to go door to door, like we did past years, let me know. It's ready to go.
You let me know ahead of time,
I'm ready to go.
between now and then, I can try, but I can't guarantee, but I'll be in there.
Okay.
So I'm ready for it.
So am I hearing like, when the Jared, we need to have
Jared's going to make it.
a scheduling session on updating our presentation book or whatever?
Yeah, Roger and I need to get together, discuss actual upcoming projects that we know about that are already in our budget. as well as possibly, these next 2 years, really, there's gonna be some funding coming. We'll focus on here now first and then plan on the second year. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we might discuss first before we go.
I'd love to come up the next week or two when give you.
Yes.
I keep going in and checking, I'm like, you doing okay? Okay.
You all sit in the room.
Not yet. But yeah, definitely over the next couple of weeks.
And let me know also if you don't find that.
Well, I have not, yeah, I did do a quick search on that, but I will search again.
I mean, we'll figure it out by tomorrow. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for your
Rob.
time.
You need anything from me to sign and make it official?
No, sir, I think it's good. Let me just.
Yeah, we just voted on it.
I think it was already signed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
All right.
Yeah, be safe on home, Roger.
Take care.
Take care.
Independence Day, 2024.
So I've already contacted, yes, so I've already contacted Schaefer's again to get us on the schedule for next year for July 3rd with the rain date of July 5th. She hasn't sent me a contract yet because they don't have any of that in the works yet. But yeah, I already let them know that we really enjoyed this year and
Can you mark exactly where they set them up? Because that was a very perfect view. I mean, could have been double.
I know it was same with our yard. We could see it perfect. The only time we couldn't see it was when they did the lower stuff. We had to like inch to the side a little bit and then we could see that.
By the way, Mary Lee, I talked to Scott Eichmore from Hagerstown, find out about their lobbyists. You're correct, they only paid him $40,000 a year, but that's only for 7 months.
Oh, okay.
It's not a full year, it's from November through. So that's all I'm saying. Yeah, I asked him, I said, he knows his stuff. I said, public information. I just want to say that. Be nice to him. Sure, we're glad to give the information. Okay, next item, Hillsborough Museum of History. Loading of original town flag for display.
So that's not the original
That's
one.
not the original.
That doesn't have as many stars as it's supposed to. So we have the original. It's in a little box, safe and secure. A few months ago, James Rogers from the Museum of History came to us and asked if we had it. And funny thing was, is Yvette and Brian knew exactly where it was. Because apparently Yvette's great aunt made it.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So, so we got it out. They took photos of it. The Museum of History wants to use it as a fundraiser in conjunction with the EDC. They've already made a few of them, replica flags, and they want to be able to sell them so that people in town can have the real Boonesborough flag. The one thing that they did ask us is they would like to have the original flag to display at the museum.
Forever, for
However long we want.
However we want to let them,
They wanted us.
they would like us to gift it.
And give it to them.
And I said, no.
Absolutely not. I told Kevin, no way. I said, well, lend it to them to display it.
Yeah.
But when they want it back, they want it back.
What if we do something like, like a 1 year loan and then we can renew it? Something-
Right. I mean, you can kind of do like what the Smithsonian does with stuff, it's on loan, it's owned by.
They bought back.
Yeah, I'd say, and we have the right to inspect it and all that. But I'd say like.
Well, they said it would be in a wall case. It would be secured lead, securely.
My concern is that I'm happy to deal with them, but they got a little community issue and they're trying to get their, they got a lot of stuff. You walk in. Oh, yeah. And I need the guys on the Pearson in there. And also, I don't know if they're gonna put it in In the boss house or in?
They're gonna put it in the furniture store.
Okay.
That's where they're.
They're upgrading that HVAC cell. That's, yeah, that's not good. But I would say like, loan it for a year, renewable every year, we go every year, just, continue. And we can reserve the right to, bring it back any.
Right, they said that there'd be a plaque, that belonged to the town.
Have a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion that we, loan the Bloomsbury Museum of History, the original town flag, on a one-year rotating basis, subject to renewal every year.
Have a second.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Anything else to be brought before before we go to commission's report? Okay, commission's report, park board. Ricky?
Good evening. We had our meeting, June 28th, right here. Independent update, they had 5 vendors out there at it. They reviewed the latest update on the golf course, this golf course layout. One of the rules that was in this golf course thing was, it's one of the holes are not supposed to go over any trails or over any water. So they had to make a few, so they had to redo that. We also discussed about the park phase, it says phase 4 trail. They would like to know when that's going to be done because they were told it was going to be done the spring of this year, then all of a sudden it got jumped.
I think it was one of those things that was also overlooked with everything else going on.
Well, I said that there was a lot of stuff going on at that period of time, so I can promise you that it'll be done this fiscal year. Let's see, Miss Diana Palmer and their esteemed councilman here from the EDC came and requested the use of the park for the tractor pull, which they approved.
Mower.
Mower pull. With Harley engines. Yeah, that's about it. And that, and go down and look at our temporary dog park. That would be, that's pretty nice. Let's see, our next meeting's at 7/26 here at 1900 hours. 7 o'clock for non-military duties. That's right.
What did you say your next park board meeting is?
7/26.
It's a Wednesday.
I'm retired, I lose track of things.
Park board sports Wednesday of the month.
I can't wait to say I'm retired. I'll lose track. What you say?
Anybody have any questions with Rich?
Yeah, I'm asking one right now.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I don't know when the permanent dog park.
I have no idea.
It's in one of the late phases of the park.
I just,
And it's supposed to be located back over the field, right?
That's where I got confused, because I
Yeah.
thought it was going over there, kind of like a temporary one where we were putting it in.
yeah, looking on here, the dog park was supposed to go back to where that
Right where the
That's,
loop is. Yeah,
grove of trees are back there, where behind where they launched the fireworks.
yeah.
It's hard to tell people that's a temporary.
Yeah, it's only been great.
You know, so-
Yeah.
The new, the permanent must be behind the pond, kind of back there.
It's gonna be back in here. Back in here. Well, there's a tree, it's gonna be more up in here.
Greg's got an old dilapidated fire plug.
Well, the temporary one is
it's pretty close to the tractor pull.
But
So we're thinking we'll get a dog sled out there, dog pull. Which just gonna affect where we stage the tractors and, obviously we can't be dogs in there with all those tractors.
But we did found that they might have to look somewhere else next year because if we get that.
Maybe
that,
we'll need
path
to
there.
put closed signs on the dog park for during the.
We have to put
That's something
newsletter or
that came up
something.
with,
What's that?
putting closed signs on the pond when they stock it, because people want to come fish, the fish for the fishing derby. So,
And it's very set, it's always,
Yeah.
at least some fish. the day before the fish.
yeah, apparently that became an issue. So,
Okay, thank you. Chief, this 30 minute is full utilities commission.
Yes. We actually did not meet last month. However, we have a meeting scheduled this month on July the 27th at 5:30. And WRA is going to be at that meeting and they've gotten more drawings. So we're going to have a Q&A with them. We're going to get started earlier so that we can plenty of time for questions.
Drawings from the reservoir.
I did have a question, sorry. The true up number for the Keysville and the Overview,
Just,
I don't.
Yeah, it was a complete mix-up.
I don't know how it happened.
So what happened?
It stuck out. to me.
Yes. So what happened was Tony had mentioned in the meeting about needing to pay them.
Correct.
I, the next day, talked to Yvette. I said, do you have the numbers in the paperwork? She was like, oh yeah, this is what they came up with. And I was like, well, that seems kind of high. She was like, well, that's what they came up with. I was like, okay. So then we did the check, gave the check to Lisa. Lisa was like, this is way, way, way too much money.
Good,
This is
okay.
Merry
Yes.
Christmas to us.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So in turn, they then gave us money back.
Yeah, they actually wrote a check for the difference of what we should have paid them. So, because they already deposited it.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I just, that stuck out on me, and I thought, how did we
I don't know.
true up this badly? What happened?
It wasn't the
And how
true
is
up,
that gonna
it
affect
was-
the budget?
No,
There
it wasn't the
was a
true
mistake.
up, it was the actual.
It was the actual true number.
Okay,
Yeah, they didn't-
It wasn't,
They took
yeah.
the wrong number.
Okay,
I
so
asked
we'll
about it.
book that like as a receivable then at June 30, so that the books come out right? Sorry.
Anybody have any questions of Tony? Hearing none. Lanny?
Planning, yes, if I can indulge you for a moment back to utilities, just to keep it on everybody's radar. There was an article in the Frederick News Post about a week or two ago, made everybody copy for a big time reading. The headline is Emmitsburg water rates to increase 36% annually for the next 5 years each. Wow. You have to read this. Wow.
Ouch.
Could you imagine?
36% for the next, how many?
5.
You read it? Yeah, I gave Jared one today, number one on our team, our little 5-person team. And I'm gonna hand this out at the BWC also.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Tim, do you want one for your bedtime readings?
I prefer TikTok before bed.
Do what?
I prefer scrolling through TikTok before bed.
Oh, well, anyway, it's a very interesting read. It just sort of lets you know that there's a lot of towns that's had a lot of troubles. That's involved in that. As far as the planning commission meetings, there was no meeting in June. However, I did go over the list forwarded by Riley with Chairman David Farmley. He put together an email and sent it to the commission, giving them that update. There is a meeting scheduled for July 25. I'll talk to Dave to see if we want to have a meeting or not. Might be nice. So anyway,
And a big thank you should go to Eric for keeping the planning commission running.
Yes, very much.
No, but honestly, you have done so much to keep the communication between,
Well.
we appreciate it.
I think we'll, so that's really the only report I have as far as meetings, but it really does continue to bother me, just because it's new and new. It's 50 St. Paul.
Well, that county's aware of it, well, because of the drainage.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
we just told them, so look, you guys just got it fixed. Coming down there, running down in the Lake and Avenue. Yeah, I'm afraid we're gonna have the same problem out is going on very fast. So please be on the lookout for the events and you go check that store. They sure they said maybe we were in here, I thought maybe take care of.
Yeah. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Public safety.
Okay, the Public Safety Commission did not meet in June, so our next meeting is Thursday, July 20th. And just please, guys, put on your calendar Tuesday, August 1st, National Night Out, and serving the meal to the community. It's very exciting. Are you in North Carolina? You'll miss out on free.
You'll miss all the free fun.
Okay, thank you, Mary Lee. EDC. Brad?
Okay. We did have a meeting. The company, first and foremost, just so everybody knows, I'll say it again, we have a networking event this Thursday evening at the Crystal Brothers. Hosting us, and you were all invited. As a matter of fact, they asked me to get a head count of any people coming. At 6 o'clock, vendors will have their food truck. It's not wings, it's a charcuterie food truck. You actually can get a meat cone. It would be charcuterie meats and cone for you, so if you have a meat cone. Chance.
That was your chance.
I'm all about meat cone. And there'll be other, quick mention, we'll get to go in the back door with the Prados and get a little tour. Meet the new owner who was inheriting the business from her father. I know that you, I know that Jared, I think.
She lives on your back.
Who is it? Is it the Downs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie,
She's 25 years old, turned 26 next.
then she walked in the door. Jerry, dog.
Really?
Yes.
Who the heck was Carol? I went to school with her when we were like 6 years old.
She's related to the down.
Well, that was not late. Yeah.
So Lincoln Avenue, they're my cousins.
Her dad caught himself on fire or something. It cool.
Well, I don't know, but he's on track for one night.
Jeff's giving me home run updates.
She said, call the SWAT team and everything into her rescue.
Well, their business, they are doing quite a bit to revise that whole business as far as marketing. They've got a marketing budget and they're looking at that. Her boyfriend is managing.
Yeah, Brad.
I don't know how much, she's pretty quiet.
Yes, she is.
You hear her come out of her shell a little bit. I mean, I don't know if I get it, but.
They got the driveway fixed
Yeah.
Friday.
They did. So, but they have nice plans for the place and they want to be involved with the town. We're just outside of town, but they want to be involved with the town. And they would like all of you all to attend this Thursday. So if y'all could let me know if you're going to make it real soon, I appreciate it.
I responded to the email that I can't,
Okay.
I cannot make this one.
That's fine. You'll be there?
That's a no.
I don't know.
She's an undecided.
Sorry.
Okay. So I got a yes, no.
I'll be there.
You want to go? You don't have to go.
That's okay, I'll be there.
You might do it.
Let's put it in. It will be cool.
Everything's cool, yeah. You're around, yes.
Alcohol is usually served. We're expecting 50 people at this one. 40, we have almost 50 at the museum, so they're getting bigger.
Yeah.
You'll bring your wife or something. She's more than welcome to bring her on up and do the breakfast and all the evening food. You're maybe,
What time is it?
Okay. All right.
I know the Grottos is really.
Terry's going.
Terry's
going?
So we went from,
Okay, Jerry's going.
Tell them to bring back the Halloween costume party if that's.
Where at the,
There,
at the, oh, yeah, they want to be, they will do a hayride. I do not want to be in Crystal Grottoes with the lights out on Halloween. That's like, that's
just saying.
way straight. But they're gonna have a hayride.
Can we do shots?
I think the movie, I think the movie side guy will do a shot now. Or a cup of wine or something like that. But yeah, so this could be cool Halloween for them, right? So, okay, so we got that going on. That's our big event for this week. Food Truck Festival. Again, we have 21 food trucks confirmed. We're still looking at some more, probably around 25. We got the tractor pull officially sanctioned. Get that handled? Yeah. So again, Food Truck Festival's on, the first Sunday, September 3rd. That's a good one, Gary, you should come to that one. Yeah. Just so, you know, that's, and again, tractor pull is on, we've got a spot for it still, but even though we have a dog park, and, so, and we'll have about 25. Boonesboro Town Alliance has elected their officers. The board of directors, Ron Humble will serve as the president, Dana Healy vice president, Nate Kraft is secretary, Marie Oyster treasurer. And the application for nonprofit status has been submitted. It'll take about 3 or 4 months to hear whether it's approved. We've already discussed the grant for the website. So that's that. Beautification project, did they meet with you about the downtown beautification project? They're looking at revising that and we get something for us here for the next meeting. Let's see. There was a question, and I forget what we talked about, but Brian's, for the budget, Brian's hours, are they coming out of the EDC budget, their meeting budget?
So his additional $1.50 he makes an hour?
Yeah. Okay, that's coming out of, okay, she's, Terry's asking, because it wasn't done before. Yes, it came out of the general fund. So, okay.
Well, we never had.
I was gonna say.
We never had.
We had, when we hired him to be the EDC staff liaison. Yeah, but that wasn't coming out of the EDC budget then.
It's come out the entire fiscal year,
The whole time, all last time?
this whole fiscal year.
New, I thought it was going on the whole time. And that goes back to like last November.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so this is nothing new. They're acting like it's something new. Okay.
Well, it's just because it's now obvious.
It's recorded.
Yeah, because that was a non-budgeted change.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't a line.
Right. Okay.
Now there is a line.
Got it. All right, that's it. Thank you.
What about the beautification? That's my question.
That's their, I mean, Jared, they talked to you about the first one. All I know is that they're gonna have, they got a little subcommittee, they're gonna come forward with a new plan to bring it to the council with a new revisions. So what did they tell you?
Yeah, basically I met with a few other members last week sometime. And they weren't really sure. They had the plan and they made a few small changes that they wanted to make to it. Apparently what they weren't sure that the council liked were some trees along the beach. And so what I recommended they do was make their changes internally first, if they want to come to the council with a completed plan as they would like it, and then let you guys vote.
Right.
As a council. Yeah, because a lot of back and forth is just not gonna help. They just need to come with a plan that they want. And then as you guys amend it, they can accept that.
We were talking in person. And that'll happen, I don't think next time, next week, they got the food truck. Maybe. Could be some. All right,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Environmental Commission.
We didn't meet, but we meet tomorrow night.
Anybody else have anything to discuss? Hearing none, the motion to go into executive session as provided under general provisions articles 3-05B, 1 subsection I, to discuss the appointment of appointments.
I'm just dancing on them.
Second promotion, discipline, promotion, compensation, removal, recognition, or performance evaluation of appointed officials. Over whom it has jurisdiction.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Eric, the floor is yours.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah, we're not
yeah. Oh, sorry.